Jacaranda FM.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you
It's
for taking the
absolute
time.
honor to meet you, needless to
Pleasure.
say. Now, this is not your first time in South Africa. You visited our shows
No.
many times before.
Hmm.
What is a memorable experience from your previous visits to South Africa?
Well, I remember arriving at the airport in Johannesburg and receiving this rapturous reception from people. It was just so warm, both white and black, and I never forgot that. And of course, that was the first time I'd been here. And growing up in England, you cannot help but have a preconception of South Africa, given its history and its recent history. And so to actually arrive here and feel the warmth, just the all-round warmth, was something that really resonated with me, and of course made me feel really excited about coming back here.
Now, that is one thing I must say about South Africans. We're extremely friendly, very eager, and very keen. Now, I mean, with the nature of being in the music industry and your roots in Nigeria and growing up in Britain, you then relocated to LA, you toured Japan, you toured Thailand, and you're all over the place. What is something that you've experienced or noticed as a bit peculiar to South Africa specifically, either culturally or with its people?
Something peculiar about
Yeah,
South
something that you
Africa.
found a little bit odd.
There's nothing odd about South Africa, to be quite honest. There's nothing. I don't find anything odd about it. Um, I think that Africa in general is the source. It's the source of life. What do I find? I don't find anything particularly odd about South Africa, but there is something. If there's one thing that I feel this time, which was similar to last time, is this vibration. There's a rhythm to it. But I think that's typical of Africa in general.
Yeah.
As you travel, or as I travel, I pick up on vibrations a lot, and there's a definite frequency
Yeah.
which is very inviting and very exhilarating.
Yeah, you said something similar to that once that really resonated with me. I mean, I'm an extreme music lover. And you said that music has the ability, and especially when you perform, you find there's this one point in time in a song where you connect with the person, and at that moment in time, you're on the same frequency. And that music is able to break down any barrier, language, age, sex, race, and you connect with that person. When you're performing, do you find that there's one particular song that allows you to tap into a frequency with someone?
No, there's not one particular song, and there's not one particular point in the evening. It can happen. There's not one specific point or one specific song. It happens, that connection that I'm talking about, that empathy, that meeting of the minds, of the souls, and of the hearts. That can happen at any point. It could happen right in the first song. It could happen.
Yeah.
Well, it tends not to happen at the last song, but it can happen in the middle. It just doesn't really matter.
No, but it's an amazing experience. And you said that also when you are performing, you like to go back to, when performing a particular song, you like to go back to the emotions you felt when you wrote that song.
Well, you're telling a story, and you have to believe the story. It has to be convincing. And so, because when you do that, you're making it relatable. And so you therefore have to relate to it, and whether that is going back to the initial emotion or the experience that made you write the song, or indeed applying it to another, a similar experience. That's what you have to do.
Would you find with doing that after a performance, you either feel emotionally drained or you feel like emotional release?
No, the opposite.
Release.
I feel just invigorated. Because it's a collaborative thing. People think of a concert as just this, like the artist coming out and performing. It's actually the audience are performing too. It is a collaborative performance, and it is an exchange of energy.
Yes.
The energy is rotating through you, through the audience, and it becomes circular and exponentially bigger.
It resonates with everything. Yeah. Now, you're also a coach on The Voice.
I was, yes.
What was it like working with young people that are so driven and so
Oh, it
hungry?
was wonderful. It was, it was, it was, uh, it was one of the most fulfilling experiences I've ever had in music. To be able to kind of pass on your knowledge, or to see these people at the beginning of their journey, as it were, and seeing these obstacles in their way, and sort of understanding through my own experience how to help them circumnavigate those obstacles or walk through them. Um, that was a really great
Yeah.
experience.
Now, certainly the obstacles in the music industry from when you began and now have changed a lot. Would you say, or what would you say people need to make it in this music industry? How hard is it?
Well, there's a lot more congestion. I mean, there are a lot more avenues to getting your material out there or getting yourself heard. But therefore, as a result of that, there's a lot more congestion. You have to wade through a lot more noise.
Yes.
But it depends. What was your question, actually, your initial question? Because I want to answer, you'll understand why.
So when you start out in the music industry, the obstacles in that musical landscape are much different to what the obstacles are in this current landscape. What do you think it takes of a person to make it in the
To make
current
it. Okay,
musical
that's
landscape?
what the bit I wanted to make sure of. To
Yes.
make it. It depends on what you mean by that. If to make it, what your definition of that, if it is to have a hit record, or to you know to to be famous, it depends on what your definition of making it is.
Yeah.
If to make it, if to make it is to achieve the aforementioned, then you don't really need that much. It's pretty simple.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple to kind of, to have a hit record. That doesn't impress me at all. To sustain, to make a career, to sustain longevity,
Yes.
and to get real happiness from and
Yes.
satisfaction from your profession, from your career, from your path. That is a little bit more involved,
Yes.
and that requires, if you are going to sustain a career over a lifetime, then that requires a bit more. You have to, I believe that you have to sing original songs. There has to be something, you have to have a unique voice.
Yes.
Two, at least, preferably 3 octaves. You have to have a look,
Yes.
a specific look. You have to be driven. You have to have a work ethic. You have to have a belief, like a relentless pursuit and belief and knowing of what it is that you're doing. And that's just the beginning. Having a hit record or being famous, that's just, anyone could do that. That's just a foot in the door. You're at the
Yes.
very beginning. That's, not impressive at all.
So your new album, Seven, you wrestled with a lot of the complexities and idiocracies of love. Now, love is an emotion
You've
that's
been doing your homework.
been written. Yes, love is the eternal emotion. Everyone's written about it in all forms and
The
matters.
oldest muse.
Yes. What is your definition of love?
My definition of love, well, if I knew that, well, I'd be a very I'd be a very sought after person. Like, I'd be given lectures, and my definition of love,
What's your understanding of love?
my understanding of love is happiness, absolute happiness,
Like unconditional.
just absolute happiness in its absolute form.
And you also said that one of the things that you're looking most forward to about coming to South Africa is reconnecting with the motherland. Now, what is your definition of the motherland, and what does it resonate with you personally?
Well, I believe that the source of life it comes from Africa in
Yes.
general, not necessarily, not just specifically South Africa, but all of Africa. In fact, that's scientifically proven. So, and so it is the motherland. It is, you know, there is this rhythm, there is this draw, this magnetism, and you feel it. Obviously, you feel it here in South Africa. It's you feel, or at least I feel, somehow connected with it in a way that I don't necessarily feel anywhere else. And I'm from England, you know, I was born in London, but I'm talking about on a deep-rooted, like on a very deep-rooted spiritual is perhaps the wrong way to describe it, but on a physical, and on a metaphysical, and
It's like an ancestral connection.
on an ancestral, yes, connection. I do feel connected with it in a way that is not, that I don't really feel anywhere else.
Would you ever consider moving here?
To South Africa?
Yes.
Well, perhaps when my kids were older, you know, or if they were, you know, it'd be difficult. You see, that's the thing when you have responsibilities. You can't just uproot your kids and bring them here.
You
'cause that's
can't. Yes, you need to
you know,
consider a
but
lot of
when they were
things.
when they were older, I'd certainly love to have a house here. I would love that. I mean, it's beautiful,
We would love for you to
and the
be
people
here.
are beautiful. Yes.
And then just final
Thank you,
question.
by the way. It
Absolutely.
doesn't go unappreciated, that last comment.
Absolutely. Now, with your draw to South Africa and with your heart being invested in here, you had a dream to do more work with underprivileged children in South Africa. Have you been able to do that?
Not to the extent that I would love to have, because the partner I wanted to do that with, they decided to go off and do something else, and so that was my dream. That was, but it's, that dream is still ongoing, and so that's just a case of finding a new partner. But it is something that is definitely on my bucket list to do.
Well, when the kids are old enough and you move down here, then you can focus fully on it. Thank you so much, Sheila. I
Thank
really
you, Cass.
appreciate your time. It's been great chatting to you.
Jacaranda FM.